Glamour.
Grit. Glamour. Glamour. Grit.
Welcome to the Glamour Grit, episode 9.
Hey.
Hi.
Cheers.
How are you?
Hey, you know what's crazy? I was at Molly Morgan yesterday at school. Last night we had a daddy-daughter pumpkin carving event at her school. It was really cool, and we did it last year, and it's a great daddy-daughter thing, and we had a blast. But I had multiple, not just the moms helping out throwing the event, but some of the dads come up to me and be like, I like the podcast.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, that's so nice.
I was
for
not
real, for real, not
yes.
just for podcasts?
Swear to God. Swear to God.
Wait, that's really sweet.
I know. It made me
and
feel...
I don't think our audience, like I know we have a ton of females, but I don't think we're a fully female podcast.
No.
Listeners.
And one of the dads
there are
was
a lot of males.
One of the dads was asking the mom, like, have you watched this podcast? Like, he was the one going for it.
I think you know who did it for us?
Who?
Caitlin Clark.
Wait, what?
It's all of our information on Caitlin Clark and sports.
Oh, I mean,
Like we might as well be a sports podcast.
No, but I did also get somebody, one of your friends at Joe T's was like, I don't pay attention to sports. So every time you guys have a sports segment, I love it because then I can go use that on my husband and it works every single time.
No,
so,
I completely agree. That's how I learned about actually everything.
You know what's also really crazy?
Tell me.
Well,
we're really intimate today. I feel like we're, like,
I'll
whispering.
get into it actually because I have a whole spiel about podcasts. Because the other week you were like, "Hey, what are the top podcasts in the world?" And I didn't know like the top like in order because when I was talking about smart
Okay, but I
lists-
do want to guess though because I do think I know a lot of them.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll get to that.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm throwing out a little precursor there.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good, Eric. I feel like it's maybe bad, but maybe good. This week flew by. I have no idea what's going on in the world. Like, is that weird? Usually there's so many pop culture things. I was looking and I feel like it's still the same things as last week, which is good. Maybe we're having like a breather week,
Oh,
which, all might come loose like tonight. Watch all hell break loose. But I feel like there's not been a ridiculous amount.
I've got some good stuff. I really do. So I'm excited to share that stuff. But I'm actually curious because I haven't asked you this in a while. What show are you currently watching?
Oh, well, obviously I'm watching all the Real Housewives, Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And I asked one of them to be on our show, the new girl who I'm literally obsessed with, but I'm not even going to say her name. And they said she couldn't right now. So I think they're keeping the cast of Salt Lake City very lock and key. I know her publicist told me that the producers are being very specific about what they go on.
Is there anything good scripted wise?
Last season of Blue Bloods, our Vanessa.
Okay.
But
like anything new, exciting,
No.
scripted wise that
That's why I feel like there's such a lull right now. I'm not even watching TV except reality. Do you know why, too? I think election season, a lot of people that do watch the news, we don't watch the news because our anxiety is too high. I read the news, old school newspaper style, aka not an actual newspaper, but on my phone app. But I think people are just wanting to get past this election.
which we can now vote in the state of Texas.
And I voted.
The other day, they opened up early voting, which I think, given how many issues we've had, especially in the last election of like them, all trying to compile it. It goes, on election night, it goes well into the next day. And they're like, oh my God, it's so close. We can't tell. Early vote. I feel like that has to eliminate so much of the stress of like the last second trying to juggle how close by millimeters we are at who's actually winning this thing. So if you can, right, that's got to make sense. In my mind, you early vote and that makes the actual election night faster, right?
I don't know. I think people are early voted last time too. But I think there was a lot of, because of COVID, mail-in ballots. And I think that's where things get wonky. Like, because you're tallying mail-in ballots instead of in the actual system.
Interesting.
But I voted yesterday, and I think it is every person's right to vote. That is why we are citizens. So vote, vote, vote. I think
Yeah.
it's always important to vote.
I have not. I've been preaching about voting since early voting day started, but I have yet to have the time to get in there to
You have
do it.
yet to receive the sticker.
No, and it really doesn't count if you don't post a picture of you and your sticker. Does your vote
I literally
even,
vote for the sticker.
this is my question
No.
actually. Does your vote count if you don't post a picture on Instagram with the I voted sticker?
No,
No.
I'm sorry.
You have
no.
to.
Well, and you know what's so funny is when I was voting yesterday, no one was taking the stickers.
What?
I'm like, isn't this the whole point? Is
Were
that
they old?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is you take the sticker and it's like, I voted.
Yes.
Now it's like a bragging right. Like it's
100%.
cool to vote.
Especially this election is just so wild and, so polarizing that it's like whatever side of the equation you're on, you have to vote. It's just so important to take a stand right now for whatever you believe in. So, I will absolutely be showing that off when I vote.
I know. I wonder, do you remember in school, because I always ran for class president, no surprise.
I don't even think my school had that.
And it's so sad. And I feel like it's so important. That is one thing. Well, they probably wouldn't do it anymore because it's not it really wasn't like a popularity thing. It's actually who would get the job done. And you'd have meetings like student council meetings and things
Did you
like
ever
that.
win?
I won one time. And then I really don't want to
You
talk about
your
the-
school people are listening. So
I
if you
know.
didn't ever win, you need to fess
No,
up right now.
No, I know. And I did win one time. And then I can't talk about it on the podcast the time that I didn't win. I just can't talk about it.
As a winner of president
I am
for your
literally Reese
class,
Witherspoon in the movie Election. That is me to a T.
what does the president-elect of, what grade were you?
I think it was my sophomore year because I didn't win my senior year.
What does president-elect of
Or I won
sophomore
my junior year.
year
It was whatever sophomore and junior. I didn't win senior year.
in high school, what does that entail?
It is you do student council meetings, and then it's just deciding times. Like a lot of the times it'll be pep rallies, deciding the pep rally situations. You decide like shorter lunches or, things like that. But I think it's a good way to start learning how to.
Advocate for yourself
Yeah.
and others. I agree. Did anything you presented to, who are you presenting to? Is there like a board or something? Or your
Well,
teacher?
I think you do.
Or
You vote then, like all the different things you decide on. Then the whole school votes for them.
did anything you decided on get past? You're like, oh my God, I left my mark. Or is it all kind of just like fluff?
I think it's all fluff.
Okay.
I know. You know what's actually so weird though is my best friends Natalie and Shelby and Keely all remember every little thing about my life. I don't remember anything. Like nothing. I think I wanted to get to New York City and be on Broadway so bad that I never lived in the moment.
You mean like high school memories?
Like everything. I think I was just always, my mom even said, like, the moment I could talk, I would have left my family and moved to New York City and just been like, thank you, farewell, friends. Like, I don't remember a lot of things.
But you're like that today. Like, I'm always kind of baffled at, like, I'll bring something up and you're like, no, I didn't. Or, no, we didn't. Or, that never happened.
I know.
Like,
Do you think something's wrong? I think I moved too fast and I do the task at hand and then I forget about it. Like, I made all A's in school and then bombed the SAT.
I don't know. From the
Because
outside,
I'm a memorizer and I do it in the moment. I do the test, I make an A, and then I forget about it.
from the outside looking in, you do 100 things at once, and there's potentially something to that, because I don't forget a thing ever, but I can only do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it has to do with like my brain is in 10 places, so I'm not going to remember one of them because I just like have like little bits and pieces of a memory of all 10,
Yeah.
but you don't actually fully remember one thing. Maybe you should try an exercise. Give it like, I don't know, a month, 6 months. Can you do that?
Do you know what
And,
I
like-
think it's called?
What?
ADD.
Well, maybe.
I think I am the definition of ADD or ADHD, all of that. I am that to a T.
Yeah.
Because if you, Lorene and I were at Round Top and we were sharing a room and I just had gotten there. So I've been in a car, mind you, for 3.5 hours. And she's sitting down. We have our jammies on. And I am bouncing around the room like ding, 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 like organizing things, moving things around. Like the entire time for like 2 hours. And I was like, that I am showing you exactly what is in my mind 24/7.
There must be I want to Google after this podcast to see if ADD correlates with lack of memories.
Yeah, because I do think ADD is when you do like you can't ever finish task. I always finish the task, but I'm doing like 15 things at once.
Yeah. It's so interesting.
Yeah, but it is
Because like
interesting
our
about
brains
memory.
obviously are wired polar opposite of each other. Minus
Exact
like we have
opposite.
so many similarities in terms of like our interests and things like the arts, but creatively. But when it comes to how we accomplish a task, it could not be more different. And I wonder if there's something to that. Like if you do so many tasks at once, you'll never really kind of remember doing one of them
Yeah.
or the specifics of like a deep memory within the handful. I don't know.
I've already zoned out. Sorry. I literally, because I was thinking about my next topic, because you said we're so different. It is so weird. When we got together, you were 19, I was 21. There really isn't a single thing we had in common. I was so addicted to you. It's so interesting. It's not like we like met doing a common thing.
We did though, because you moved to New York City and wanted to be an actor, and I was an actor. Like I was doing the thing you had just been studying so hard to do. So it's like you obviously saw like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that attraction. And you were
Yeah.
like so in it then too. Like especially the Broadway world. Like you were going to auditions every day. This is back in the day when you didn't do self-tapes.
But
We
that
actually were, like, going-
that was probably the
Attraction.
common denominator, the only common denominator. But we're also both very impulsive. We're very, fly by the seat of our pants. Like tomorrow we could just do something
Yeah.
that's to most people would take like a year of planning, and we could just do it on
We
the drop
just
of a
do it,
hat.
yeah.
Both of us.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
But it's so interesting because the amount of, we talked about this last podcast too, like addicted to you. I like could not take it how much I was in love with you. But you wonder if that's part of my mind. Like you were such the balance that I didn't have. So to me, it was like, how can I, get that? Like I want part of that.
I mean,
Were you addicted to me? No, you definitely weren't. But I was so
I
addicted to
was,
you.
because from the minute we met, we were inseparable. Like we hung out every single day. We became the best of friends. But I was also 19 and scared of like, if I verbally like commit and say, hey, we are a unit right now, I knew that would be the rest of my life. So it took me a little longer to I mean, mentally, physically, everything else we had already fully committed.
Yeah.
But it was like just,
like saying the word.
at that point in time, it was like such a big deal. Like, you make sure you say, like, we're officially going out. We're officially boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, at the
without.
time, it was like Facebook status.
Yeah, you had to
changed
have
your
the
Facebook
status. And that was a big deal. And I was nervous to commit to that status because I knew this was going to be the rest of my life. I was like, I am 19 years old. How is this even happening to me right now?
Like, I remember the moment we became boyfriend and girlfriend, we were like already saying, I love you. Because that's how far along we were already into the relationship without like officially being into the relationship.
Oh, right. Yeah. No, 100%.
Because we became officially boyfriend girlfriend, like, I think October. And we said, I love you, like Thanksgiving.
But we had hung out every single day.
That's what I mean. From May to then on every single second of every single day.
Yep. And you were doing 100 things at once, and I was doing one, and it was just working out perfectly.
I know. Loving me. Loving me. Isn't that so fun, though?
It is kind of weird to look back. I mean, really fun, but like weird to think that it was, first of all, what,
Like 20 years ago?
20 years ago now. I feel like I need to be smoking a pack of cigarettes
I know.
when
I
I
think
say
it was actually
that.
16 years ago. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
I know.
What's even crazier is, okay, so 13, 23, 33. I've been doing my career for 20 years. I started when I
Yeah.
was 13. I'm 33.
I know.
That's wild. Like I meet 50, 60-year-olds like, yeah, I've been in this industry for 25 years. I'm like, holy smokes, I've pretty much been in mine that long too. It's just
I know.
so much younger. I can't believe it actually
Well,
stuck.
and that's like me with musical theater.
Yeah.
But I guess
since-
I'm not in musical theater anymore. But if I was, I mean, I started professionally at the age of 3.
Yeah, it's wild.
I know, and to actually stick with that. Most people do this and then they move on with their careers, that we've actually like stuck it through. But that's, I think, because of our parents, because they didn't force it upon us, so we wanted to stay in the industry.
Yeah, and I mean, my mom supported to the nth degree of whatever us kids wanted to do. So it was like, well, you want to do this, Eric? Yeah, I want to do this. Okay, I'm going to do everything I can to support your dream, and so you can just keep flying high. And the minute you say you don't want to do this,
We're done.
we're done. And I just never had that moment. Like I had lulls of like, I don't think I can do this, like doubting
Yeah.
myself. But when you have, I guess that's just a testament, and it's exactly how I want to be for our kids, and we already are.
Yeah.
It's just you just support their dreams no matter what, hold their hand no matter what they want to do, encourage them to be, to go for their goals. And their goal might be something they bring up at 13 years old and
I
are
know.
now 33 and still doing the same
Well, we
thing.
talked a lot about this with one of our future celebrity guests about her experience with her kids. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
And that just about that, just following the support of your kids and following your kids. And what do you know, as a parent, you still want to guide your children. But when do you stop and let them fly? When do you stop a decision? You know what I mean? It's such an
Yeah.
interesting thing as a parent. Really, I always say, I've said this since the moment, they're going to blame us for something.
Yeah.
So we might as well just try our best.
And then it's also like we're dealing with this with Molly Morgan, who's 5. And, one day she'll want to play soccer. The next day she never will want to do it. One day she wants to go to dance. One day she doesn't want to go to dance.
Yeah.
Like I can't gauge like what she actually loves to do yet. Whereas I was talking to one of the other dads at the pumpkin carving last night, and he was like, man, we really missed you guys this season at soccer.
I know. That's what
And
a couple of people have asked me. They were like, did y'all not?
and I was like, I've got a question for you. Does your daughter wake up that morning and is excited to get her stuff on and go to the game and is like, yes, it's soccer day? He's like, yeah, she loves it. It's like, my daughter did not. Like,
Hated it.
it was like,
Bribing, agony.
yes, getting her out that door was painful. I was like, maybe that's just what 4-year-olds do. Like, that's just how they act to
Do you know what
everything.
my parents said? And Lorena said it, and a couple of my friends have said it. We have made life at home way too much fun. So the kids never want to go to school or do anything because they just want to be with us and stay at our house.
I mean, if you put it that way, I'm like, well, I'd
I
rather
literally
that.
have had
But
so many people say that about our kids.
that's hilarious.
It's so true, though.
So we need to like make fun,
Actually have rules in our
Make-
house because we don't.
make home not as fun, so they want to get out.
Can I share a text that I received from our good friend Kelly Lancart, who I love more than life?
Yes.
She just randomly texted us this. And I thought it was so interesting because especially she texted me and 3 of my best friends who are all young moms. We all have kids under first grade, okay? And
Mhm.
Kelly's kids are all adults now. She said, "My sweet sisters, today as I was praying for you all, your marriages came into my heart. I wanted to take a moment to encourage each of you in your journey with the men who stand by your side. I see the love they have for you, and it is such a beautiful thing to witness. You are each so deeply adored." She talks about you, and then she goes, "Ladies, on days when your husbands might be driving you a little crazy or life feels overwhelming, remember they are champions, fighting their battles alongside you. They may not always get it right, but they are trying. You are the greatest strength. You are their greatest strength, and they look to you with so much love. I see how they honor you, how they admire you, and how they deeply cherish you, the queens that you are. In those moments when things feel hard, when they're being shits, as y'all sometimes are, give them grace. They are humans, just like us, doing their best. Love them even more in those moments because that's when love matters most. You are their everything, and the way they adore you, even in the smallest of gestures, is something to treasure." And she goes on and on and on. But like,
Oh my gosh.
how, like,
Oh my
and all of us
gosh.
started like so deep because we needed to be reminded that daily because I hate to say this, because somebody said to me, I once heard someone say, "Do you speak to your spouse daily like they are your greatest treasure?" And I'm like, hell no. Who speaks to their spouse like they're their daily treasure? Are you kidding? Like, for me, that reminds me of like the 1950s. Like, "Hello, dearest, my dearest treasure of my love of my life." I'm like, I'm like, babe, come wipe Molly Morgan's ass over here. Like, come on now. But I do think, especially in this stage of our life, we've talked about this. I think the mothers hold, or the parents that are with the children at home a lot of the time, have the greatest pressure they feel. So what we've said, like the husbands or the partner that is not full time with the child, with the children, not even if even if the mom has to work or whatever, I think you just have this great sense of pressure that I think y'all go on the back burner for a bit.
Well, I don't know, but just going back to what Kelly said, it's a really unique relationship that we have with her because you have your relationship with Kelly. I have my relationship with her.
Yeah.
We have our relationship with Kelly. But what Kelly does is, if you don't know, she works at Joe T. Garcia's. Her family owns Joe T's, which is our famous Mexican restaurant here, and it's a legacy dynasty run restaurant, family owned since 1932 or 23. But she is a gatherer of people. She is a networker. She hosts all these incredible dinners. She does guys' dinners. She does girls' dinners.
Yeah, she does like trailblazer dinners for females, like all different females in Fort Worth. And we get together and we talk about like our greatest fear. It's really cool.
Right. But she does, there are many dinners and times where it's just her and the guys.
Yeah.
And so for her to say that to you makes me so happy because, when we're all with her, clearly, we're talking about our wives and our lives and, it's always about our families and blah, 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 blah. And she listens. And for her to go and then like say that to y'all just makes me like, it almost brought a tear to my eye because it's just so sweet.
Oh, I started to cry after I got the text because it is a daily reminder. You do forget sometimes that you are on my team. Not that you're not on my team, but we are one and the same. It's sometimes like as a mom, you feel like you're just like trailblazing ahead and you're just trying to get all these things. And you forget sometimes that you do have a teammate right there to help you.
Well, yeah, this is teamwork makes the dream work,
I know,
baby.
but I know all young moms will not young moms, but moms of young children will understand what I'm saying because it's like the teachers don't text y'all, they text us. You know what I mean? So it's like we get so inundated with all these things and making sure, like, do you know when the kids' Halloween parties are? Like stuff like that. So I think forget sometimes it's like we can give you the opportunity to help with that more. I have the luxury of a husband that I could say, hey, Eric, I do need you to get the children's Halloween gifts or don't let me forget. And that's a privilege and like a luxury that I don't use a lot that I should.
Oh, I mean,
do you know what I mean?
It
gives you the chance to then become a part of it more.
I feel like, I'm inundated in just as much of it as you, but I know the moms deal with so much more. But
I just gave the camera a look. If you didn't see that,
I'm saying, but the husband and the father doesn't know what they don't know. Like
that's what I mean.
We feel like
that's
we
what
are doing anything and everything,
killing the game. And
yeah, and the minute you say like, hey, this, that, and the other, I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, It's so interesting.
Yeah.
But I thought that was beautiful. I thought I'd share that with our podcast listeners.
That's very nice. Love you, love you, love you, Kelly.
You know what's so also again, I was on the phone with my dad before this because of social media and journalists and all this, everybody gets so inundated with so much stuff and we are so quick to lash out no matter what. I was just thinking about this conversation. I was like, we're going to get polarizing comments about that because they'll be like, oh, you're just being like a wife and you're da-da-da-da-da, and people don't have the privilege of being in a partnership too. And it's like, no, this is just our experience. You know what I mean?
Wait, that you're going to get polarizing comments about what Kelly said?
No, the conversation we just had.
Oh, I mean, and if that's so, that's so. But I would like to think that our listeners by now
know us well enough
and are probably in similar boats to us and are relating to what we talk about most days. And that's why they've continued on with us. And so I think we're kind of majority of who's listening are all in the same boat. And so I don't think we will. I think that was very genuine, and that's life.
I know. That's life.
But what's interesting, I have to bring it up because you were saying what happened this week, and the fact that we're in a world where sex trafficking
Oh my God, I know.
is so prevalent, and now everybody. Did you see the CEO of Abercrombie?
I actually forgot. Wait, first off, we need to promote really fast. The Net, which is based out of Fort Worth, Texas, is an amazing organization that we work with. It works directly with sex trafficking. Worthy Co., which I did the children's jewelry line. So please look at Worthy Co. It is a perfect gift. Every piece of jewelry, every candle sold impacts directly the victims of sex trafficking. All the women that work there have been directly affected by sex trafficking. So Worthy Co., the Net.
Shout out,
Sorry.
shout out,
Shout
Melissa
out.
Ice.
We love Melissa Ice so freaking much.
Yes. So there are amazing organizations like that are making a huge impact with this massive global dilemma happening right now. But another mega wealthy guy in the limelight, Abercrombie's CEO Michael Jeffries. He was the CEO from 1992 to 2014, and him and his partner were just charged with running an international sex trafficking ring. Like charged, guilty, like this is
Meanwhile, the entire basis of their company was based off of young men and young women
of
literally
sex
being
appeal.
naked. Yeah.
Yeah, of sex appeal. And that's why they did it. So they started, they would do these photo shoots and you wanted to be the hot young model. And so they started, incorporating, this sexualized persona behind the company. Meanwhile, it was all his guilty pleasure of getting these young, and they were all young boys that he was doing this to, and paying them for sex acts and making them think they're going to blow up and they're going to be the face of Abercrombie, flying them internationally for events and stuff just to have to lure them into sex acts. And a lot of times he was paying them to do it and just forcing them into these places and things, and exploiting who they are and their talents and their beauty for his sexual desires and his partner's sexual desires. It was like a manipulated, like natural born killers. Like they were, husband and husband, but yet they had these terrible, terrible fantasies and things that they would do to their employees.
That really just gives me. And this might sound super stupid. And until I started working with the Net, I really did not know this. I always kind of thought sex trafficking was when you are abducted and sold for sex.
Yeah, like in the movies, you see that.
That is what was the movie with Liam Neeson?
Oh, Taken.
Taken. That is what I thought sex trafficking was.
Right.
I didn't realize so much of, what we called, really is escorts and things. Is that considered sex trafficking, escorts?
I mean, if they're, I don't know.
You know what I know?
There are
So
different.
That's the part that
But it's also, could just be considered prostitution. But there are so many. There's
but
so many
much
factors.
of prostitution, isn't that just because they're in a vulnerable place of
Yeah.
needing?
Yes.
So
Sex. I mean, to me, that falls in the lines of sex trafficking. Yeah.
So it's just so now that it's more on a national. We see it more nationally now.
Yeah.
It's more well known. It's so interesting because so much of the time I really thought that sex trafficking was just being abducted and sold for sex. I did not realize that it truly was all of it's grooming.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
that
100%.
all is all of that.
Oh, and then they hired a guy who also got, they all just got arrested on Tuesday, but they hired a guy, James Jacobson, to be the recruiter. So he'd be the guy to go in and find.
Well, it's what's her name for? Oh my God, what is her name? Gazelle for Epstein.
Oh, yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
that's what she did.
Yeah. Yeah. He was the recruiter. He'd find the ones that were worthy enough, that were beautiful enough, and lure them into this whole scary, scary sex trafficking ring and fly them all over the world and force them to do things because their lives were being made, their careers were being made. Oh, we're making you rich, so this is just what you have to do to be in this.
I do wonder if this is going to change because, as we've seen with Abercrombie, they have had a total comeback. their stuff
Their
is
company did,
so
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this damages because on a lot of things it says CEO, but it's like the ex-CEO. I wonder if they're going to end up changing the name of Abercrombie because this damages their business, their current business.
I mean, they did. It went from and Abercrombie and Fitch to Abercrombie.
But I wonder if they're going to go to like A&F now instead.
I wonder.
Because for me,
this is damaging to
very
the
damaging
company.
to the brand right now, especially. I don't know the CEOs right now, but I hope they're good people who have really given Abercrombie this big comeback.
Oh, and what they did
this is like
was
really bombs their company right now.
Yeah, and I am wearing their
because
clothes.
I feel weird posting about like my LTK. I feel weird posting anything Abercrombie. Because
I know,
of this now.
and it's sad because you could tell when the new CEO came on, all he did was desexualize it all. No more topless photos.
Yeah.
No more guys walking. No more guys standing in the front with abs out. Like it's all trendy. It's cool. It's oversized clothes. It's like what you see, vintagey. It's Billie Eilish-y.
Yeah,
it's like
so sick.
All of these things that are polar opposite of what it was. So they're trying so hard, and they've done such an amazing job. But this, I don't know how you come back from this.
No, that's sorry, Abercrombie.
I know.
Yuck. That is disgusting. Are people fucking nuts? Sorry.
They are. You know what I was going to just bring up, though? Because I was listening to our podcast the other day of, I think it was Rumor, because I was editing and I was listening to it out loud, and you had thrown out the F-bomb a couple times, like, oh my God, Momo's in the room. I just realized that a lot of the parents that listen to this might be listening to it out loud while they're getting ready, and their kids might be around. So I'm wondering if we should pivot.
And it is not a ladylike word to say. So I am sorry. From here on out, episode 9, I will no longer say the F-bomb.
Of season 2.
Of season 2.
But I'd never even, come across my mind because that's just who you are. But the other day I was listening to it out loud. I was like, there are a lot of people that are going to be worried to listen to this out loud with their kids around.
Because of Sainty.
Because of that word.
My Lanta. And if you've ever met me, and I've said this before, it's only because I do children's shows. I am the most PG. I mean, if you know me in everyday life, I don't. So when I am just around adults, it's kind of like I don't really drink alcohol either. So cussing sometimes is like my guilty pleasure.
And I totally get that. But it did hit me the other day. And I looked at Molly Morgan and was like, oh my gosh, did she just hear mommy say that word? And I hope she doesn't question it or say it.
I don't even think she would know what that word is.
It went over her head.
Yeah.
But I'd like people to be able to listen on their car ride to school. You know what I mean?
Did my mom or your mom tell you to tell me that?
No. I literally had separating you and me in the podcast moment of being a true listener and realizing my child was right there when that. So
here on out, I will no longer cuss.
Whoopsh, just whipped it out of you. You know what's actually cool though?
Tell me.
Not to flip and change topics, but do you know we're in the World Series?
No.
We're already to the World Series.
Wait, in baseball?
Texas Rangers won last year. You know we're back. It's already here again.
Are the Rangers in?
No.
Who's in? Houston, right?
No. They are typically well known.
That's why I haven't heard about it, because it's the Astros or the Rangers.
This is kind of iconic.
Hold on. Is it a state that I like? I actually don't know what state.
It's just two of the most iconic cities in the country going head to head.
The Jets and the Yankees?
Well, Jets and Yankees are both New York, so it would be another non-New York.
So the Yankees
and Jets is football.
The Yankees and
New York versus LA.
Red Sox.
It's iconic. No, it's New York versus LA, and this is amazing because
what's LA's team's name?
Dodgers.
Oh, that is really cool.
It's LA versus New York.
Okay, that is so smart of me. I just got Mick a New York Yankees Letterman jacket for when we go to New York. It just says New York, but it's in the Yankees font. How perfect.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're not favored to win, only by a little bit.
When is the game?
Today, Friday. First game of the World Series is today. LA versus New York. Last time that happened was 1981, and that's also the last time that any championship in any sport has ever played New York versus LA. Hasn't been since 81, and it was baseball, and it has not ever happened in any other sport since then.
Amazing.
Is that not crazy?
Love it.
But guess who else? Guess who plays for LA? Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei.
You remember that name?
Yes.
We talked about him last season. $700 million contract.
Oh yeah, the highest.
Biggest in sports history of,
Yep.
of sports for 10 years, $700 million. He's playing. He's never won a World Series.
Well, and how many years did he get 700 million?
10.
Okay.
So over $100 million a year.
I kind of
Well, not really. Sorry. 10 years, $700 million. So like just under.
650.
Yeah,
That's so stupid.
I know.
Like, how do we have that much money to give to a player?
It's nuts. Well, get this. He just hit his 50th home run ball, his 50-50 ball.
Uh-huh.
And the guy who caught it, the kid who caught it, just sold it at auction. Take a guess. For a baseball.
4
It's
million.
50th.
4 million. 3 million.
Did you see my card?
No. Was I right?
4.4
See,
million dollars
so smart.
for his 50th home run. You know how many more home runs he's going to have? 100th. How much is that ball going to sell for?
But you know what's sad is one game, one injury, and it's all over, brother.
But that's how iconic he is. Shohei Ohtani's the greatest hitter of our generation. He is breaking boundaries. He's got the biggest contract in the world. Asian baseball player. He's just it's an iconic story. He did have that gambling, scandal happen.
Oh, yeah, how'd
but
that go?
we came through that. We're all set. Now we're gonna win a World Series.
You know who I think about often?
Me.
Duh. But
Chris Farley.
oh, way too often. That is
Who?
so true. Every time somebody talks about baseball, I always think of Pudge that played for the Texas Rangers.
Oh, Pudge.
Like, where is Pudge now?
I don't know, living his best life.
I know.
Doing what catchers do after they retire.
I know. I just feel like he had it good. He never quite was fit. He just lived he reminds me.
I mean, his name was Pudge, so you got to live
I know,
up to
but
that.
he reminds me of our boy on the Mavericks that just, you don't think as a normal body type.
Oh, Luka?
Luka.
Most unathletic athlete of all time?
I love a little Pudge.
Love it. Love it.
And then I'm married to the world's hottest man that has the most fit body in the world.
I'm so sorry. It's so annoying and obnoxious. But they're having me show it in movies and TV. I'm like, if you're paying me to do it, it's got to be on point.
I know, but can't you be like Leonardo DiCaprio and Matt Damon and they just get slightly chunky when they're not?
Oh, Leo has never had a note for his body. He's always been a little soft.
Yeah, he really is.
But he's Leo. It doesn't
I
matter.
know. It's
If I
the
had that face,
It's the face.
I mean,
Christ, Leo.
golly.
That
Okay.
really is a beauty. Do you wonder, because supposedly a lot more names are going to be coming out with Diddy.
No, I can't even imagine.
Supposedly there's going to be one coming out very, very, very soon, they say.
Of Leo?
No, of a big time celebrity that people are going to be shocked about.
Oh. Is
Or
that
do you think
on your
it's going to be Einstein?
where did you get who says that?
One of our guests that are coming up on the show that I listen to our podcast every day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she said it today on her episode.
When is it supposed to come out?
I don't know. I'll find out for us by next episode.
Wow. In other big news, this is crazy. This is finance news, guys. Not something we get into a lot here on the podcast, but do you realize what's about to happen to the world of finance? And it's all happening in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, we're getting Google, aren't we?
Well, way beyond all the big corporations we're getting. We're getting a Texas stock exchange, which will be competing versus the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ.
Are you kidding me?
No, a global stock exchange in Texas, in Dallas.
But is it going to be the same stocks as New York, just a different location?
No, we will have publicly traded stocks only on the Texas Stock Exchange, and we will have a lot of companies that co-share that will be on both.
Wait, Texas is
Huge.
where it's at right now.
Huge, huge, huge. I mean, this is massive. They've raised over $135 million, which is the most capitalized national securities exchange application to ever be filed with the SEC. So they've gone tenfold above and beyond of getting together everything
And
they
it's
need to
actually
make this
happening.
happen. This is happening.
When?
So former Governor Rick Perry's on the board, and Governor Abbott is the visionary here. It is all
Are
happening.
we going to publicly trade Sainty and Eric?
Yes, our
The
ticker will
Glamour
be
and Grit?
I don't know, SSNT. E.
Yeah, SNE.
Sainty and Eric.
Wow, everybody, get
Later,
ready.
2025.
Wow.
Yep.
Things are happening.
It's kind of unbelievable. What did I read? That it expands the financial might of Texas, of course. It cements our economic power on the global stage. It's going to be interesting to see which companies do co-list on both exchanges, but we will have our own.
Well, it'll definitely be anything Elon Musk is related, anything Google, because they've all now moved down here. I feel like Ford and all those will be on there.
It'll be so crazy.
That is
Huge.
bonkers.
Huge.
And like, hello, we're getting the Texas Stock Exchange and we're getting Universal Studios. So things are happening right now.
10% of the nation's publicly traded companies are located in Texas. I didn't know that. Like, that's how many corporations we have already in the state of Texas. 10% of the nation's publicly traded companies.
I wonder if one day we will be our own country again.
Well, Texas was never its own country.
Yeah, we were. We were like separated. We were our own entity, weren't we?
No,
Like,
I
when
mean,
it
once what was it? Once the country was founded, I mean,
I thought when they're like I always thought, didn't Texas, like half of us come, it was like the north
did it
and south?
secede? It like seceded from the U.S.
No,
and
I
came
think
back?
we were,
I think that was always something that it was like, hey, Texas could and would, but never has.
oh my God, I'm such an idiot. This is one of those things. I told you, I'm so smart, but I'm so dumb.
And I was reading this on the New York Times too. More finance professionals now live in Texas than New York. It's just crazy.
Oh, I was right.
When?
I was right. I knew I wasn't crazy. Yes, Texas was its own country for 9 years, from 1836 to 1845, when it was known as the Republic of Texas.
Wow. See, I
The
didn't grow up
United
here, so I
States
didn't learn my Texas
Got
history.
rid of us in 1845, making it the 28th state in the Union.
Cool.
I knew I wasn't crazy. Oh my God. I really thought I was going to get so much hate. I truly in my life grew up thinking that was.
Well, you probably got like really cool Texas history classes
Eric,
when you lived here growing up.
This like was even before 1883.
Yeah.
They should make this. Taylor, call us up. We should do this. That is so interesting.
I know.
So literally the Republic of Texas declared its independence from Mexico in March 2nd, 1836.
Oh, that was smart.
The Republic of Texas was not recognized by the United States until a year later. So we were on our own from 1836 to 1837.
Okay, cool. So it wasn't like, hey, we joined the U.S. and then decided to be our own and then come back. It was like we were no man's land until the U.S. adopted us.
Yeah.
Great. That's actually awesome.
Isn't that a fun fact? That is a fun fact on a Friday.
It was. I didn't realize. It makes sense that we were Mexico before we were U.S. just because of the proximity of where Texas is. But
yeah. Well, I knew it was something like Southern. I didn't know if it was the Southern. Because didn't you do that movie where Oklahoma has no law or whatever?
Yeah,
the
there was the
time?
law. It's the little jet. The Oklahoma's a square, but there's one part on the
Yeah.
very top that goes way west. That was the part. It was the
I
last.
do love this about Taylor Sheridan because it sounds really bad, but I am learning a lot of facts through his shows.
Yeah, but that was the last lawless town in America. Was
Ooh.
in Oklahoma, right there in that little part that.
Go
jets
see
out.
Cottonmouth because it is about that because I thought that was so interesting. I did not know that.
So guess what else happens today? Aside from the first game of the World Series,
What?
Trump goes on Joe Rogan today, Friday.
Interesting.
Yes, which is
Okay.
long anticipated, and it's got all these speculations, and it's interesting because Joe and Trump have not had a great relationship over this year. I mean, Joe has called out Trump. Well, he called out both candidates and really said the
You
only
said
one
candidates.
I did say candidates.
He's called out both candidates.
But he was calling out Trump. He was calling out Kamala. He's like, they're all, gaslighters. They're manipulators. My vote would only go to Robert F. Kennedy. And this was earlier in the year before Kennedy supported Trump. And then Trump backlash with like, all right, let's see you walk into the UFC ring next time. America's going to boo for you. Go MAGA 2025. So they've had this ongoing like battle. And Joe has not verbally endorsed either. He endorsed Robert F. Kennedy, but that's long gone. So it'll be interesting to see if he talks about his endorsement, because not only is it important, but Joe Rogan's Experience, his podcast, is the #1 podcast in the world by a large margin.
Well, and I do think it's really interesting. Kamala got a lot of hate for doing Call Her Daddy, but that's our new medium. Of course, our presidential candidates are going to be going on podcasts.
It's, I'm calling this the battle of the podcast, this presidential election, because they're both strategically, Trump was just on Theo Von the other day. Like, they're both going for these, it's the battle of the podcasts right now.
Well, and you wouldn't see Trump on Call Her Daddy because Call Her Daddy really is, the basis of it is women. And Kamala's entire stance as a Democrat is really women's rights and reproduction
But
issues.
it just shows you how desperate they each are to get the young votes.
Yeah, I
That
don't think it's-
demographic.
Yeah, I don't think
because,
it's desperate.
Well, no, but they are targeting a very important demographic, which is our age group. We're the ones that listen to these
Yeah.
podcasts, and that is what they're going so hard on right now. They're not as worried, it seems, as the older generation or the super, super young. Like, they're really I feel like we're the target market. Or is that just I've just created this in my head?
No, I don't think it's a target market, but they know that our generation isn't watching CNN, isn't watching Fox News
Very
as
true.
much,
Very true.
where our grandparents sit in front of the TV and watch whatever network. So I think they know if they really want their voices to be heard by our generation, that's the best way for it to be heard.
Well, it's a big episode and it's dropping today. I will be listening just like I listened to Kamala's on Call Her Daddy. I can't wait to see because Joe Rogan is an incredible interviewer. I can't wait to see the questions. I can't wait to see if Joe is leaning towards one way or the other. I'm so curious. Do you know Joe has 3 billion listeners,
Jeez.
millions of subscribers. This man is in a league of his own. Do you know who okay, quick.
Okay, here we go.
According to Spotify's number 1 through 5,
Okay.
who would, I already gave you the number 1 podcast,
Mhm.
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan.
Who would you say is 2, 3, 4?
Are these all individuals? Because there are the TED Talk podcast. Are these all individual podcasts? Like, are they
Yes, they are.
by people?
No, it's it's like somebody's name in each of them except for one. I only have the top 4.
Okay. Joe Rogan. The issue is their Spotify podcast. Do you know what I mean? So SmartList was just picked up by Sirius XM, I think. So I feel like all of those would never be the top 4
You're right.
because of
You're right.
their network is not. So Call Her Daddy has to be top 4.
Yep. That's so
4 or
it goes
3.
Joe Rogan, there's one in second place, and then Call Her Daddy. Call Her Daddy's number 3.
Okay, second. Oh my God, this is gonna drive me nuts.
I don't think you're gonna get this.
No, and
I
hold
had never
on,
heard of
it's,
him. He's a former U.S. Navy SEAL.
Oh, what is it?
Sean Ryan Show.
Oh, never heard of that. And
Yeah.
that's number 2?
Number 2. And then Call Her Daddy, and then Tucker Carlson.
Wow. But you know what's interesting? Those I feel like are not going to be incredibly accurate. Those are top 4 on Spotify.
On Spotify.
I would love to know the top 4 across all.
I did, and it differs between 2 and 4, but number 1, no matter where you look,
It's
by
Joe
a
Rogan.
large margin, is Joe Rogan. He owns podcasting.
It's so interesting.
I know. Comedian, host of Fear Factor, UFC announcer. He's had such a vast range of career. I would think I don't know, if Ryan Seacrest had a podcast, he'd be number 1.
But you know why? It's because back in the day, I think Joe Rogan and these podcasters I know your mom. I mean, my parents would watch David Letterman every night. I don't think late night talk shows are that anymore. That's where people go
My
to
mom was an
podcasts.
early talk show. She was a Rosie girl. She
What
was an
and
Oprah. Yeah.
So I think where that used to be the thing, like Oprah and Ellen and
Rosie.
all those people, nighttime and daytime, are now going to podcasts.
Yeah.
So I can see why that is now. It's just the new norm. It's the new demographic.
It really is. Okay, I have one other weird, kind of quirky, fun thing that's actually lighting up storms in the world of influencer travelers. So Germany has been working on something for a while, and they just released it. They released their first AI travel influencer. So they want anyone who's thinking of coming to Germany to learn about all of the sites, to be taken on the tours, to see all of the things it has to offer through the eyes of this AI traveler named Emma. They've created Emma. She's got her own Instagram at Emma Travels Germany, and they're putting all their chips on the tourism of Germany on this AI bot. They've launched this whole campaign around her. And you can read it on Forbes, New York Times, like it's everywhere.
It's just like a walking chat GBT.
It is.
I think I feel
But you know,
that-
she looks real. She's gorgeous. She's
yeah, but
like
you still have to be on her phone. Like it's still on your phone.
yes, but I guess what they're trying to show is well, the advancing.
What's going to be tailoring? It's like chat GBT. So Emma is going to probably tailor your travel to what you're interested in.
Yes.
I mean, it's just it's cool. I see it. It's another thing to add to the list.
You know.
I feel bad for the influencers.
Oh, they're
of,
outraged.
Germany.
They're outraged. They said you're sidelining human influencers, all this stuff. But the tourism board, they're like, no, actually, what we're doing is we're complementing your efforts. And according to them,
They're really just putting a book. What back in the day, remember, I would used to do the book, like what you'd see in New York City.
right.
They're just putting
the pamphlet.
Yeah, like a pamphlet to a.
Yes. Yes.
I think this whole AI thing, well, Ariana Grande just talked about it because Cynthia with Wicked just got very, 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 very upset because they just AI'd the poster to look like.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
Cynthia
and
Erivo.
and she got all upset because she was like, I was looking into the eye and there was a whole thing, and I get it. That is
Well, because the Broadway poster, they show Glinda whispering into Alphaba's face. Alphaba's face is covered by her hat.
Yeah.
It's very mysterious.
yes.
So in the movie poster, they had the same picture, but they're showing all of Alphaba's
And she
face.
wants to be looking directly into the camera
She
and the audience.
Yes.
So I
but
can
the fan
understand.
created one
Yes, and I really
that looked like the Broadway poster and cut her eyes out.
Yeah, I don't think it's that deep.
It's not that deep.
And I understand. I think Cynthia took a platform, and Ari got asked about it, and I think she did. I think everybody's trying to navigate this new AI.
Yeah. Well, go to Emma Travelers Germany on Instagram. Let me know what you think. I'm so curious. She looks like she'd be your best friend. Like y'all kind of look like sisters.
But don't you think? See, I don't like that either. If you're gonna do AI, I feel like I should be able to customize what AI I want.
But
Like, why is she gonna look like me? Like, I feel like that's not fair to people.
Well, because what they're showing is the quintessential German person, I guess, in their mind, like what we want people to think of when they think of Germany, which goes back to many years ago. So it is kind of bizarre that, but
Oh, so she's literally like blonde, blue-eyed.
oh, yes, like
Oh,
picture
yeah. See,
perfect.
I don't like that.
Picture
No.
perfect.
See, I think if they
But
want,
she's also very approachable. She's not like the supermodel. She's like
no,
a
but
traveler.
I do think if you want people really, like whatever your family looks like, I would want the person that's taking me on the journey to look like my family.
Yeah, and I see
Like
them.
if I was a 70-year-old woman, I don't want to go to Emma. I would want to go to another 70-year-old woman. So if you're gonna AI it, least tailor the AI
Maybe that's next.
to whoever it is.
Yeah, I think that's next. I think right now they're targeting the demographic of people that travel most, and that is millennials to Gen Z. You know what I mean? Like young, traveling, just getting out of college, like want to see the world, and they want an approachable, and it must be extremely affordable because it's all done on AI. They're not having to send her around the world for all these cool tours and stuff. She's just you type it in and she does it. So I don't
feel
know.
Like all the money they spent on that freaking AI, they could have hired an influencer and who would have done the exact same thing.
That's the thing.
Probably so much
the AI it
cheaper.
costs nothing. You type it does it for you. Like it's so easy.
No, but it's still programming and it's all, and there is still nothing at the end of the day about human
100%
interaction and human experience.
connection and flaws.
Because let me
and-
tell you, has that AI sat on the plane? Has that AI sat on that bus? Has
No.
that AI gone inside those restrooms? I don't think so, America.
You're right. You're right. You're right. She does not know how the toilet
And you
paper
know what?
felt at that
Actually,
nice fancy
now
restaurant.
I understand why Cynthia was upset because what she said is she was looking at the camera directly. She wanted that human interaction. So she was trying to make a stance with that and it got taken away. I don't think the person that did the AI did that for purposely. I don't think, but now that I was getting all upset about it, I get why Cynthia maybe had gotten upset.
Well, listen, we're making robots to do our jobs. We're making, cars to drive for us. Everything is advancing. We talked about this last Friday. This is Germany's way of saying, hey, we see where the world is going. We're accepting of it. We're joining in on it. Here's our first, step into this puddle. Tell us what you think. And I think they've learned very quickly that, and get this German AI travel influencer,
Mhm.
which I think they truly thought is going to be the next revolution in Germany's, tourism, got write-ups in every publication around the world and has actually I was the 3,000th follower on its Instagram. So it's a flop. It's a flop.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to
I
follow it.
agree.
I did follow it because I'm so curious to see what happened. They've only posted one video, but I am so curious to see how this progresses. But I think it's too soon. It's too early, or it's just not.
I think we have so many, what we've talked about the last episode with Elon, so many issues in our world right now that need to be fixed before we go on to other things.
Yeah,
I think if we weren't getting hacked every 5 seconds, people would be like, yeah, let's go bigger, better.
yeah.
We're getting hacked every 5 seconds. Everybody's always having to change let's fix the issues at hand before we try to go to the next thing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, but that's all I've got today.
I kind of feel like we're getting good at this podcast thing.
It's very fun. It's very fun.
No, I really think it's going so much faster.
So I want to know what your glamour and grit is before we
Oh,
wrap
gosh.
out
Okay.
real quick.
My glamour is I have this partnership with Mackenzie's Childs, and our last little shebang is, well, today's Friday, but so was last night. And hopefully it goes well. It's gonna be
Sorry. So your glamour is you get to have this big party for your launch
yes,
of your
and it
Mackenzie
just
Childs
closing
line.
that chapter because I've worked so many hours and so many Zooms and so much money and so much time
Amazing.
closing that chapter.
Cool.
Hopefully a new chapter with them will open, but it just is, when you do something or do an event or you turn in an essay or whatever, it's nice to
And your
put a
grit?
bow on. My grit is kind of everybody getting sick right now. Everybody is sick.
Yeah.
And I just got past the sickness.
Mine is, so I just went to an allergist for the first time, and they test you for 30 things or 36 things or something, and it's all the, the trees and the different grasses and the molds and the dust mites and all these things. I've had chronic,
Yeah.
chronic sinus issues, sinusitis all the time. I've had multiple surgeries to try to correct it. And meanwhile, I think it was all severe allergies. I tested 30 out of the 36 things. My arm lit up like it had hives because they have to inject you with whatever it is.
Yeah.
I am so allergic to every tree, every piece of grass, dogs, cats, you name it.
Eric, I really have been telling you to go get your allergies
My mom
tested
has too.
for decades.
My mom has too.
So why? This is the issue with men. You'll never, if there is a problem, go to the doctor.
I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. You're both absolutely right. I'm embarrassed to say
I
it.
literally said, why aren't you sleeping? Have you gotten tested? I mean, everything.
So now I'm going to start daily. They have the shots, but if you do the shots, you have to go into office every week, and you can't miss a week, or else it's going to get.
Why do you have to go in office?
But there's a solution for people who travel a lot or who can't go into office. There's these drops they give you, and you have to do them every single day on your own at your house. So I've got a consultation coming up on how to learn how to do the drops. Hopefully this will be life-changing. So that is my glamour and my grit all in one. And I will report to let you know how the
allergens.
the allergy is getting defeated in my body, hopefully forever. And I'm going to get to the solution. But at least now I know. Now I know I am allergic.
I mean, we could have
to
all told you that for years,
everything.
but
The only
glad
thing
you
I'm
know.
not allergic to, the only thing, feathered objects. So down, anything down with feathers, not allergic.
Interesting, and that's a big allergen.
I
for
thought I was going to have to
people.
call you and be like, we need new pillows.
Yeah.
No, we just need to get rid of our dogs, every tree around our house,
That's it.
the grass in our front yard, but I can keep my pillows.
Perfect.
Great. Y'all, thanks for tuning in. We will see you on Monday with a very, very cool guest. Enjoy your weekend.
Happy Friday.
And go Yankees or Dodgers?
Go vote.
Go vote.
Glamour. Grit. Glamour.